It's 2025, you're sick and tired of your current job, and you're thinking about jumping over to IT. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and say,
Do not come. Do not come.
nah, I'm just playing. You picked the right video because I'm going to be breaking down the top beginner IT certifications of 2025. And unlike a lot of the other videos you watch like this, I'm also going to provide you with some resources that help you get hands-on, because most people won't tell you that certifications will help you get the interview, but they won't actually help you get the job. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the video. And I selected the entries on this list based off of a few criteria. First of which is going to be frequency. How often do you see the certification actually show up on a job posting? If it's not a lot, it probably didn't end up on the list. The second one is feasibility. Is it actually feasible for a noob or someone who doesn't really have any IT certifications or experience to be able to actually get the certification? The third criteria is applicability. Are the exam objectives actually applicable to things that you're actually going to be learning or experiencing or running into in the IT field, or at least the specialty that it's focusing in on? Now, this list is also based off of my experience in the IT career field as a network engineer and someone who started out in help desk. If I don't think these certifications actually helped me in my entry-level phase, then they aren't on the list. And I also took into account experienced professionals in server, cloud, networking, and security who all have been involved with the hiring process and identified what certifications they believe their entry-level guys should have as well. But with that, let's go ahead and get into number one. So the help desk is a great entry into IT, and it'll help you identify what route you want to take within your IT career field as you make your way through the trenches of your day-to-day operations. Now, if you want a chance at getting a help desk job, you're going to need this first certification, which is the CompTIA A+. Now, I know I might hear a lot of shit about putting A+ as the first certification based off of my previous video and what others might think about it, but if I stick with my previous criteria that I mentioned, A+ always ends up coming out on top.
Hate is because they ain't us.
Now, of course, there's going to be a caveat to that, but we'll get into that in a second. So the CompTIA A+ is a foundational certification that's aimed at people who know jack squat about IT, and it covers basic IT things like hardware and software, and it includes things like understanding the different components of computer and tech, as well as its applicable software, basic hardware and software troubleshooting, basic security, cloud concepts, mobile concepts, networking, and a plethora of other things. Now, if you know nothing about computers other than how to use an incognito window and delete your browsing history, then this is probably going to be the certification for you.
You're a sick motherfucker.
Now, in order to obtain the certification, you actually have to take two different exams. The 1101, which covers a lot of the hardware components that you're going to be seeing on the exam objectives, and the 1102, which is going to cover a lot of the software components that you're going to see on your exam objectives. Now, each of those exams is $253 a pop, which ends up totaling over $500, which is one of my biggest complaints about this because it's the most expensive certification on this list. However, it is worth it based off of all the job postings that this certification ends up having as a requirement. Now, the price for this certification is hefty, but there's a reason for that. There's thousands of job postings out there asking for this certification. Now, of course, this is primarily help desk type positions, which is great if you're a beginner. That's probably where you're going to end up anyways, and that's the type of role you should be aiming for. And having the certification on your resume is definitely going to help you get an interview for those help desk type jobs. And that leads into my caveat. You still need to be able to sell yourself like a cheap $2 whore in your actual interview in order to land that help desk job. The certification is just going to help you get the interview. However, you're going to want some sort of hands-on experience, and I would recommend that you probably at least work with some sort of Active Directory components, maybe spin up your own Windows Server virtual machine on a computer if your computer is hefty enough for it, or deploy one in the cloud with Windows Azure or AWS. Honestly, they have free tiers that you can use, and deploy a server, learn how to add and create and delete users, because that's stuff you're going to be doing at the help desk, and you want to be able to at least somewhat speak to it during your interview. And that's something that this A+ certification won't offer you. However, of course, I'm still going to stick with A+ being the top certification because of how often it shows up on job postings and how much more likely it is for you to actually get that interview for a job posting that you apply for if you have the CompTIA A+. But that's the CompTIA A+ for you. Let's go ahead and jump into number two. So cloud computing technology is the future, and many companies are looking for ways to transition their services to the cloud in order to reduce costs, remain flexible, and of course, adapt to ever-changing technologies. And having a certification with the most dominant cloud provider, AWS, Amazon's Web Services, is definitely going to be the way to go. And that leads to number two on our list, which is AWS's Certified Cloud Practitioner, or ACP for short. So AWS ACP is an entry-level certification aimed at people looking to get a jump into the cloud side of IT. It's a beginner-friendly certification from AWS, which is the leading cloud provider in the world. I hope you've heard of them. And the ACP focuses on foundational cloud concepts like what is the cloud, how it works, and how AWS services like EC2, S3, and Lambda are used with companies every single day that interact with the cloud. It also dives into key concepts like cloud security, pricing, and shared responsibility models. Now, this certification is ideal for roles like Cloud Support Associate, Cloud Sales, or even Technical Support. Plus, it's great for building your confidence before tackling some more advanced AWS certifications. Now, in order to obtain the AWS ACP, you only have to take one exam, which costs $100, a lot cheaper than the CompTIA A+, and it's about 65 questions. So a lot cheaper on the list and definitely more attainable than the CompTIA A+'s hefty price of $500. Now, of course, why was this certification picked over its competitors like the Azure Fundamentals AZ900 offered by Microsoft Azure? Of course, it's going to be because AWS certifications appear way more in job postings than Azure does. AWS and Azure are getting more neck and neck every day, especially with Google on the rise as well. However, Amazon is still dominating, and that's why it's going to be on the list. Now, of course, Microsoft Azure is going to be an honorable mention, and that's just because sometimes they host Microsoft virtual training sessions, which will allow you to get their certification for about $50 if you attend a virtual training for 2 hours, which is free, but it's still not going to beat out AWS. If you're trying to get a job in cloud computing and you want a certification that pops on job postings more often, you're going to want to go ahead and get the AWS ACP. Now, of course, just like the A+, you're going to need some sort of hands-on training, and that's going to be applicable with all these certifications. These certifications will help you get the interview, but you're going to need to be able to sell yourself out on the actual interview itself, which means you need to know somewhat what you're doing. So with this, you're going to want to go ahead and sign up for an AWS free tier, and you're going to want to start interacting with some of the services that it provides. You're going to want to go ahead and deploy servers and services, but make sure you turn those damn things off so you don't get charged for it. And this will help you get more familiar with AWS's user interface and services, so you can actually talk the talk and walk the walk when you're on your actual interview.
Walk it like I talk it.
But with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into number 3 on our list. So if you're interested in networking and think you want to get some sort of network tech or maybe NOC job, Network Operations Center job, you're probably going to want to go ahead and get number 3 on the list. Number 3, my lord. Which is the Cisco Certified Network Associate, or CCNA for short certification. Now, the CCNA is an entry-level networking certification provided by Cisco that covers many different things to include routing, switching, security, services, and even automation. And of course, the CCNA is going to primarily focus on Cisco devices and their services. However, this certification is going to ensure that you know just about anything at a basic level for networking that will help you get a network tech job and be able to start off running when you get there. Of course, there are many other competitors that provide networking certifications, but none of them come close to Cisco. Honestly, Cisco's like Apple in the networking technology field. And I can personally attest that if you get the CCNA, you're still going to be able to put hands on any other sort of networking devices and figure it out pretty quick. I mean, a lot of these guys adopted what Cisco did, and their CLIs are very similar. So CCNA is definitely going to be the way you want to go with this one. And in order to get this certification, you have to take one exam, which is great, but it is going to be about $300, and the exam can range anywhere from 90 questions all the way up to like 120 questions. And with that, they're not just all multiple choice. Some of them are going to be simulators where you're actually having to put hands on keyboard and interact with the CLI to figure stuff out. Now, why was this exam picked? It's obvious. Like I said before, Cisco and CCNA are dominating the network tech field. And of course, Cisco's just like Apple. They're the shiny product that majority of people will end up going with, and the CCNA is like the golden stamp of approval, letting companies know that you know your shit in terms of at least networking, assuming you did the actual studying and you didn't cheat. Now, of course, just like the other certifications, you're still going to want some sort of hands-on experience because, like I said before, this certification will get you the actual interview, but you still need to be able to get past the interview and actually land the job. And with this one, actually, you kind of need hands-on experience with the certification as well. And with that, I would recommend you at least download Packet Tracer, which is the free networking simulator software that's very lightweight. You can run it on a laptop, and it'll allow you to actually interact with Cisco devices. You can drag a switch or a router out onto the simulator environment. You can actually pretend to plug in cables to each of the ports, watch them light up, and actually interact with the CLI and get familiar with Cisco CLI and how things work, how networking works in general. And you can actually apply those same skills that you learn as you're doing the lab to an actual networking environment, a physical environment, once you actually get your job. So it's great. So being able to walk the walk and talk the talk in networking is going to be crucial if you want to get a network job. You're probably going to be looking at more of a network admin or NOC center, which is network operations center job, but there's definitely the possibility of getting a network job, and CCNA is definitely going to be the way you want to go with this one. But with that, let's stop glazing Cisco and go ahead and get into number 4 on the list. All right, so if you want to get a beginner job on the security side of IT, you're going to want to go ahead and get number 4 on the list, which is the CompTIA Security Plus. So the CompTIA Security Plus is a great IT certification for anybody who's looking to get into the security side of IT. Or even cybersecurity with little to no experience. It's a globally recognized certification that covers the topics like securing networks, protecting systems, responding to security incidents, risk management, cyber threats, and many other things. And now what makes the Security Plus beginner friendly is going to be the fact that, number one, it doesn't require you to have any sort of experience like some of the other certifications and its competitors do, though some basic IT knowledge would be helpful. Because if you don't know how a network or how tech works, how the F are you supposed to be able to secure it? Now, this certification is perfect for roles like a security analyst or a security operations center analyst, or SOC for short, or even an IT administrator with a security focus. If you're looking to break into the ever increasing high demand job postings for cybersecurity jobs, you're going to want to go ahead and get the Security Plus. Now, if you want to get the Security Plus, you only have to take one exam, which is great, unlike its brother, the A+. However, of course, there's a caveat with that. It's about $404. Where the extra $4 are going, I have no idea, but it's worth it based off of all the opportunities that you're potentially able to get if you have the certification on your resume. Now, why it was picked, of course, I'm gonna have to go ahead and say the Security Plus is definitely one of those gold standard certifications for getting into security, specifically more towards like the beginner level. CISSP is gonna be a lot more in demand. However, that's gonna be for like experts and people who are not just now getting into security. So Security Plus is definitely gonna want to be the way you go. If you go ahead and Google Security Plus versus some of its other competitors on Indeed, LinkedIn, you're going to see Security Plus pop up far more often. And there's another reason for that, and that's because Security Plus is actually required for many DoD jobs, Department of Defense jobs. Even if you're not getting into the security side of it, you still need to be able to meet the IET Level 2's requirements, which Security Plus fulfills. So it's definitely going to want to be the certification that you get if you're looking to get into the security side of IT as a beginner. Now, of course, just like all the other certifications, you're still going to need to be able to sell yourself once you get that interview, and you're going to want some sort of hands-on experience. And that's going to be one of my critiques with the Security Plus, is that you're not getting much hands-on experience. It's mainly going to be theory-based stuff that you're learning. So with that, I'm going to want to go ahead and recommend that you also try to get some sort of experience with some security information and event management or SIEM tools, just so you can start learning about log management and correlation and things like that, which a lot of SOC analysts, which will probably be a job you end up getting, view a lot. And for that, I would recommend you actually get some sort of experience with potentially Splunk or a website called TryHackMe. With Splunk, it's an actual tool that you can use, which is used for event monitoring, and you can actually download this on your computer. You can set it up in a virtual machine if you'd like. And what you're going to want to go ahead and do is just watch some YouTube videos on it, learn how to get used to the interface, learn how to do some potential queries on it, and just understand how it works, how it interacts with the network, so that you can at least speak to it once you get the interview. You can also try out TryHackMe, which is a website that provides hands-on cybersecurity training, and it offers it via free and paid tier training. And this is going to be crucial if you want to get that hands-on experience, so you can walk the walk and talk the talk when you get the interview that Security Plus is going to allow you to get. Now, my thoughts on the Security Plus are mixed. There's going to be a lot of people, including myself, who do bitch about the CompTIA Security Plus. However, you can't beat the fact that it pops up so often on job postings. There's no way that you can ignore the fact that it'll at least help you potentially land an interview. You're still obviously going to have to sell yourself, but this certification is definitely going to be the way that you want to go. Out of all the certifications other than CCNA, I would probably recommend Security Plus, especially if you're wanting to get into the security field. So definitely get the Security Plus if you're thinking about it. But anyways, those are my top IT certifications of 2025. We got the CompTIA A+, we got the AWS ACP, the Cisco CCNA, and CompTIA Security Plus. If you have these on your list, I guarantee you're going to get at least a shot at an interview for a job. But of course, like I said, with all the other certifications, you're gonna need to get some hands-on experience, and I'll leave some links to the resources that I recommended in this video. But that's about it. Let me know, are you guys looking to get any of these certifications? Do you have them? Do you think they've helped you? Or are you thinking about going for something else? Let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for sticking around. Make sure you subscribe. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away another Raspberry Pi 5. And I cover all things tech, to include certifications, career advice, and labbing. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.